Welcome back, crew, to Boats vs. Haulover, where Man and Machine take on Mother Nature down at Haulover Inlet in Miami, Florida, and today's going to be an interesting one. We got about a 15-mile-an-hour offshore wind. You can see the white caps in the background. Definitely going to give some of our caps some fits, but let's go ahead and get our competition rolling. And here we go, first round. The boats are going to send a Boston Whaler into the ring to see if they can be the first one to get some points on the board against Haulover, but let's go round one. Somebody ring the bell. And here we go, our Boston Whaler is working its way out of the inlet. The crew is taking the slow roll approach, which is not always the most recommended, but right now it is a rough day down here at Haulover, and they're going to have to pick their line and pick the way they approach these waves pretty carefully to make sure they don't wind up stuffing the bow, or worse, this crew's stuck to the middle of the inlet, which is probably not what I would have recommended today. I definitely would have stuck to the north side of the inlet and then tried to sneak out the north side as well, because the problem with Haulover today is it's rough on the inside, but it's even worse on the outside, and our crew's about to find that out as they're about to hit the rollers on the outside of the inlet. Let's see if they can finish this one off and wind up taking the win for the boats, because so far they've done okay, and right now it looks like they're gonna do it and pull off a win for the boats here in the first round. No! The last second they stuff it and they wind up blowing it, and what I thought was going to be a win winds up being a loss, and Haulover takes the first points. And that's going to give Haulover the 1-0 edge as we move into the second round of our competition. But don't worry, the boats are not done yet, as here in the second round they're going to toss a CV in the ring to try and get some points on the board. CV is a very formidable boat. Let's see how it fares as it goes in and tries to do battle with Haulover. This crew, they've got the throttles opened up, the boat's up on plane, they're going to let this vessel eat as it tries to work its way out of Haulover, and this crew, fortunately, it looks like is not going to have any issues whatsoever. They keep the boat up on top of the water, they're going to battle through some of the big rollers here at the end, but man, this boat just absolutely destroys it and is easily going to take a win for the boats here in the second round. And that's going to bring us to the third round of our contest, tied at 1 apiece, and here in the third round we're going to feature a Sea-Doo Spark stepping in the ring to attempt to do battle with Haulover, but unfortunately for this crew, things go drastically wrong really early, and the Sea-Doo winds up breaking down as it made its approach toward the inlet. Fortunately, this Nimbus was willing to jump in and lend a hand and try and get her back into the inlet, but as you can tell, things never seem to go easy around the inlet, and our girl winds up in the drink, but that's just the start of this situation. They've got the tow line wrapped around the handlebars, which is not really the best tow point for this vessel. Unfortunately, the little Sea-Doo Sparks, if you've never been on one, they are far from being the most stable jet ski out there to begin with. If you toss two people on one of these, you're already struggling to keep the balance. But this crew, they're doing everything they can, and they've already found themselves in a little bit of mischief as they're well inside the swim zone here at Haulover Inlet, where no boats are supposed to be. But of course, they're trying to save this ski before it winds up on the beach. But I got a feeling in this situation, with the way things unfold, they may have preferred for it just to wind up on the beach. Probably was going to be a little bit easier to get from there, but this winds up happening here. Because of the way they were towing it, with it wrapped around the handlebars, the vessel winds up capsizing and rolling over during the tow attempt. Now this one still confuses me a little bit, because what they wind up doing is not the most common thing. I mean, pretty easily, somebody could have jumped in the water right here, went ahead and flipped this ski. It's a pretty simple process, and then moved the tow line off of the handlebars to the tow point at the front of the bow of the vessel. But instead, they chose to tow it in upside down, just like this. Now the good news for this crew is most jet skis in theory are kind of designed to be flipped over. The companies, when they make these, know this stuff is going to happen, but they were never designed to be towed in upside down, so I have to imagine there is some sort of water ingress that is occurring during this process, and man, that can be really bad, as in all likelihood, it could completely shoot the motor that's in this thing. But they wind up getting it back in at least safely. There's no injuries or anything, but I do have to give the win to Haulover on this one, as it was pushing the jet ski in toward the beach, causing this crew to rush and this event to happen, which means Haulover is going to take the win here, and Haulover is going to go up 2-1 as we move into the fourth round of our competition. And here in the fourth round, the boats are going to bring a Boston Whaler in to try and get him back in the contest. The boats definitely can't go down here. If they do, it'll be all over, but let's go. This crew, man, This boat is loaded up, and they are working their way out. They made it out the mouth of the inlet pretty easy, but they're out here into the big rollers with a loaded up boat, but Cap's keeping that bow high, and this crew, I wonder where they're going. There's so many people on this vessel, but overall, it looks good. They're going to make it out, and I'm going to give a win to the boats on this one, and that's going to bring us back to a 2-2 tie as we move into the 5th and final round of our contest. And in the 5th round, we got a surprise as the boats are going to toss a pontoon in the ring, which is always interesting, and man, no. So we've got a few rules on Boats vs. Haulover. Rule 1, if you stuff the bow, no matter what, you take the loss. Rule 2, if you put a kid in the bow without a life jacket, that's a L as well. This doesn't necessarily apply to any of those rules, but it makes me want to create a third rule that if you're going to hang off the bow of the boat and Haulover, that's an L also. Anything could go wrong here, and things could get out of hand pretty quickly. All it takes is one big boat to come by, a random wake that they don't see from a yacht offshore coming through, and our girl could be overboard. Unfortunately, in this one, even though everything looks okay, I'm going to give it the L just for the situation, and that means Haulover is going to take the win in this episode. Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Boats vs. Haulover. If you did, please check out our other content. We have Wavy Boats, who does a bunch of great things down at the inlet. My channel, Broncos Guru, do some great comedy boating videos there as well. And of course, we got the Miami Boat Ramps channel that focuses on all the hilarity that happens at the boat ramps in South Florida. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.